Imagine turning your passion for health and fitness into a thriving 7-figure business. I did exactly that, and in this video, over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to teach you how to do it too. The health and fitness industry is one of the fastest growing industries in the world. Obesity is on the rise, the desire to look good on social media is on the rise, mental health problems are on the rise, and that is where your opportunity lies. So sit down, get a pen and paper ready, and I'm going to run you through the exact marching steps to recreate your belief systems and give you the actionable tips so that you can bank 83.333K per month in your fitness business. This is going to be really useful for you whether you are just at the start of your fitness business or whether you've been in it for a while and you're really wanting to grow, but things just aren't going the way that you want. This is going to be super insightful. Remember, all it takes is one idea to totally transform your life and your business. And in this video, you're going to get clarity, you're going to get inspiration, and you're going to get marching steps to do it. Now, first things first, you need to identify the very thing that you are bringing to the marketplace. What are you going to be solving for people, and how are you going to do it? This is called your genius. And in order to define your genius, there are essentially 3 important factors that you need to consider. The first thing is you. You are the founder. You have a backstory. If you look at your health and fitness business, whether you're teaching nutrition, whether you're teaching strength training, whether you're teaching mindset, whatever it may be, you are actually teaching from experiences that have actually happened in your life. So the most important thing is to get really clear on your hero story. Your hero story is one of the most important factors behind why you do what you do. So your hero story is very simply defined as the 5 most chaotic moments in your life. Write them down on a piece of paper. Once you've got those 5 down, I want you to contrast them with the 5 best moments of your life. So we go from worst to best. This is really important. When you list these down, you look at the polarities, the contrast from who you were to who you are now. And that is your backstory. That is the story that you tell people. That is the story that captivates people. So defining this is really important. Once you've defined that hero story, it's really important from that to get clear on what your philosophy is. Your philosophy is essentially the beliefs, the attitudes behind how you approach life. It's going to be important for your team. It's going to be important for your clients. It's going to be important for the message that you put out to the marketplace. When you look at these contrasting events between worst and best in your life, what were the beliefs and attitudes that you developed? If I look at my worst case scenario was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 16, overweight, depressed, lonely, didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, didn't have a good career, didn't have money. When I contrast it with the best experiences in my life, I was Junior Mr. Universe, Junior Mr. Britain, was in Flex magazine, Muscle and Fitness magazine, built a business that does millions of profit every year, has impacted thousands of people around the world, has written a best-selling book. All of these things are the contrast to my worst. And in order to essentially go from worst to best, I had to develop a series of beliefs and attitudes. And those beliefs are, just as an example, 1 is having a vision that's bigger than my current reality. Number 2 is defiance. You can't develop courage without taking risks. Being clear around what you're doing, being your own best friend, and developing self-mastery. So all of these things actually develop their way into all of the coaching programs and everything that I have built and offered over the years. And on top of this as well, from the hero story, you've also developed expertise. So in order for me to build a business that makes millions in profit, I've had to develop the skills of being good at marketing, being good at sales, being good at customer success, being good at building teams. In order for me to have taken my body from obese, type 1 diabetic to healthy, lean, writing the world's first encyclopedia on diabetes and muscle building. So I have developed expertise, I've developed beliefs and philosophies, and I have a strong hero and backstory. Get clear on your 5 beliefs, philosophies, get clear on 5 core skills that you've delivered, and paint that picture. That's your story. Hey, this is my backstory, this is where I was, this is where I am now, these are the beliefs that I had to embrace to allow it to happen, and these are the skills that I have developed. This is everything that I'm going to give you. And this forms the basis of your target market. That's who you serve. You're actually serving a younger version of yourself right now. All the skills that you've developed. The next thing is looking at the what. Like, how does all this come together and create value for the marketplace? And there's 3 things that you need to know. Number 1, what is the identity that you are creating for people? Back whenever I had Diabetic Muscle and Fitness, the main identity was I wanted to create a healthy, strong, and confident individual with type 1 diabetes. With my work now, the identity that we create is that we build fitness entrepreneurs. We don't build online coaches, we don't build gym owners, we don't build PTs, we build fitness entrepreneurs. So what is the identity? The future aspirational identity that they really want to become. The next thing you have to get very, very clear on is how you're going to de-risk people. How are you going to de-risk them? How does working with you extend somebody's life? How does working with you save them money? How does working with you give them speed? How does working with you get them results safer and faster than anything else? So you got to get clear on that language. The next piece is, how do you create aspirational value? I always like to put this as life before and then life after. So what is the transformational, aspirational value that you can provide these people? Super important. All of this combined is your gift to the world, right? It's your service, it's your gift. The next thing is getting clear on the how. So this is all about your program. And your how is your mechanism that gets a result, i.e. when they enter your program, what happens? How do they go from worst to best? Well, there's a couple of things that you've got to get clear on. The first thing is the deliverables. Every single coaching program needs to have 5 core drivers. It needs to have a plan so that people always know what to focus on, training so that they are developing the skills to help them solve their problem. It needs to have accountability, it needs to have support, and it needs to have a community that holds them to a higher standard than they can hold themselves. And all of this essentially means that they can't get stuck. This is essentially the mechanism, how. You then need to look at the journey that you take them on. So the journey is essentially going to be, what does that look like? How long is it? So it's going to be time frame. There's also going to be aspects in it in terms of milestones over the course of time. And there's also going to be things like gamification, maybe executing a particular set of lifts or fitness challenge in a certain time. It might be a certain grade of belt if it's martial arts. For us, Inside Fitness Entrepreneur have different levels of revenue, and we actually reward people with swords. So think, what are the levels inside your program that get people excited? When they start the program and they're at the start, let's just say that over the course of time, how do you get them to becoming a king? How do you get them to become a queen? There's a journey. So that gamification is important, and that gamification needs to have labels, and it also needs to have metrics. The next thing is pricing. Like, what are you going to charge for your time? So your pricing can range from anything from, let's just say, $97 the whole way up to $10K. And we've got upfront pricing, and we've also got lifetime value. Upfront is what a client pays upfront to get access to something there and now. And lifetime value is, how long do they stay with you, and what else do they buy with you when they're with you? This is one of the most important pieces that you've got to get right before you start even thinking about moving towards 7 figures. Let's move on to the next piece. And I want to talk about 7-figure empire. And what we're going to do is we're going to map out all the different products that you could potentially build. Now, you don't need to build all of these at once. I will show you exactly what to start with. At the very bottom is your most basic products. This might include products like books, ebooks, and all that kind of stuff. It may also include things like merch, short courses, whatever. Whenever we had Diabetic Muscle and Fitness, we had books, we had ebooks, we had merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, we had all of that stuff. The next thing up is events and workshops. This could be anything from $10 to, let's just say, $100. And by the way, you can create, once you buy a book, you can buy another book, you can order stack things. In Diabetic Muscle and Fitness, what we did is we sold the book. Then after people bought the book, we offered them the fat loss recipes. After they bought the fat loss recipe, we'd offer them the muscle gain recipes. And after that, we would then offer them things like membership sites, merchandise, and everything else. So events and workshops, again, could be anything from $75 to $250 a ticket. The next thing up is then membership sites. And this could be anything from $50, $500 for a year up front, or per month, $50 per month, $500 for a year up front with bonus stacks and all this kind of stuff. But here's the big thing that I want you to realize is that all this stuff here is what we call easy access information. 9 times out of 10, information isn't the best stuff for getting results. And that's where we move up a level. And this is where you really start cranking and making money. I'm just running you through all the products here right now. So the first thing is high ticket group coaching. I firmly believe that this is the fastest way to 7 figures. Now, this can be charged at anything from 1 to 5K upfront for 90 days of coaching, and into a back-end recurring membership of, and this is where you could also tie in the membership, is tie it into a back-end of 250 to 500. We teach clients how to build their front end at 1 to 5K, and then how to build a back-end that keeps clients, once they've paid this initial amount, into a back-end, so that we develop 2 things, new cash and MRR. New cash is upfront sales, monthly recurring revenue is what they pay in the back-end. So this is what's called front end, back end. And the reason why you want to collect money on the front end is because it pays for team members, it pays for things like sales commissions, it pays for for things like advertising, and it allows you to advertise to more people rather than just going in straight to traditional, $200, $500 a month for coaching when you might have to pay to advertise and you end up not making any money for the first 1 or 2 or 3 months. So it's important that you collect cash up front. The next level is then corporate training. So being asked to go and deliver a corporate workshop, education, all of that kind of stuff. And essentially this stuff here is essentially implementation. And this is where you can really charge a premium, because ultimately implementation is the very thing that drives results. By the way, you can charge more when you've got more experience, more authority, and I'm going to talk about how to build authority later throughout this video, so make sure that you stay tuned for it. But you can charge anything from 5 to 25K. I remember doing corporate training for certain diabetes organizations and charging 10K to go and speak. I remember having a high ticket offer at 2.5 to 4K up front that went into a back end of $500. That wasn't delivered by me, but was delivered by a leading dietitian, a psychologist, and other team members that I built. But I want you to look at the value. The value essentially increases from 1-to-1 to 1-to-many. The impact increases. Now, the next level up is consultancy. This is where people pay for your time individually on an hour-by-hour basis to come and consult with you. This might be a high-level client. This might be a coach coming to learn off you about your principles, your practices, all this kind of stuff. It's usually a very expensive price point, and this could be anything from 500 to a K an hour, again depending on your experience levels. But essentially you don't want to sell a lot of this because you can't grow it, you can't scale it, but you really charge for your time, and you can only start offering this at a high level once you've built a strong reputation, authority, and positioning. The next level up to this is about brand deals. So back whenever I was running Diabetic Muscle and Fitness, I had diabetic companies that were involved in blood sugar management, supplementation, that sponsored me. I believed in their products and I got kickback for advertising their products, recommending their products, including them in my books and all this kind of stuff. You can really charge for this because I'm going to put expensive, because they're technically using your audience. They're using your advertised channel. And the last one is certification. So if you have developed a really powerful genius and you want it to go beyond you, you can begin to certify other people in your method. And this could be anything from 5 to 20K for the upfront to the lifetime value of somebody. When they come in, they access a certification, they stay, they get background support. I'm not gonna run you through how to set up all the back end of these. I'm gonna create different videos for these in due course. So make sure that you click subscribe and stay tuned for all the stuff that I'm going to go through. But essentially the final stage is really about access to you and your audience with the brand deals and the consultancy. But the service around certification is all about multiplication. And this is where you multiply your IP, you really leverage other people to deliver it. But this is essentially what a 7-figure fitness business empire looks like. Now, if I was to say to you, what is the most important thing to focus on first and foremost? Well, the first and foremost thing to focus on, in my opinion, is the high ticket group coaching. Why? Because you've already got the knowledge, you've already got the skill sets, and building this model will give you a high degree of leverage and it will allow you to charge a premium. And I'm also going to run you through how to build the team so that this doesn't rely on you and this can run largely without you, and you can get your working week down to sub 20 hours per week, and you can use those 20 hours to then build other things. So for example, the likes of books and ebooks and merch and membership sites and events, I don't recommend that you start with this stuff. Why? Because it's low cost, it requires a lot of volume. I recommend that you only do this after you've built an audience and you use these products and these services to actually get people into your world at a low price point, allow them to consume your material, and then once they've consumed your material, you then get them to upgrade to the high ticket group coaching where they're getting the most important thing, implementation, and ultimately using that to get results, right? How many books have you bought that you've never read? How many courses have you accessed that you've never actually logged into? If you look at all the information that's available freely on the internet, people don't get results out of it. They binge watch it. And if you binge watch it and you don't implement it, then you're not going to get the results. So they're paying for results here. Once you've got this leveled up and you've got this thing fully cranking with a team and you're getting results and you're making money, you can then delve into the higher levels of corporate training, consultancy, brand deals, and eventually when you're really removed from the business, you can then start thinking about certification, right? But this, in my opinion and my experience, is the one thing that I wish I would have done sooner, is the one thing that I wish I would have developed the skills to really scale and grow, because it will make you a lot of money, it will allow you to impact a lot of people, it's a high attention to detail. Once you build the right team and the right systems, you can really create a lot of leverage, and when you create a lot of leverage, then you can then start focusing on the other areas. and building what's called multiple revenue streams. But this is the single most important revenue stream, in my opinion, first. Now, some of you watching this may already have done some of this stuff, but you might not have this. Some of you may already be on this, but might be stuck. Some of you might have even dipped your toe into some of this stuff and haven't got any of this stuff built. But you want to layer each one up. And I genuinely would start with high ticket group coaching first. The second, I would go with events and workshops, webinars. Third, I would go with products. Fourth, I would probably go with brand deals because you'll have built an audience. Fifth, I would probably go with consultancy and corporate training. And last is certification. So this is important. This is essentially what you should look like. So the third most important thing is to focus on distribution over product. Most people, when they get into the game, obsess over their product. They obsess over their knowledge, they obsess over their certifications, they obsess over what software, what tools to use, and they end up procrastinating in perfecting the product. Don't do that. All of you know how to get an amazing result. All of you have already done it in yourself. If you go back to your genius and you look at the backstory that you created and the results and the expertise that you generated for yourself, you've already done that. So you know how to do it. You just have to lead others to do it, right? So there's a saying that first-time entrepreneurs focus on product, second-time entrepreneurs focus on distribution. Distribution is the single most important thing that you need to focus on. And here's what you need to focus on first, is joint ventures and what I call collabs. Why do this over posting on social media? The number one thing that allowed me to grow my fitness business was public speaking. Getting in front of people that had the pain point that I solve. If you get your calendar right now, and you go and look at it over the next 90 days, how many times are you speaking on a podcast, speaking on a YouTube, speaking on a stage in front of people that have the pain point that you solve? If the answer is 0 and you're just posting on social media, you are missing a massive, massive secret/trick. When you find people that have the audience that have the pain point that you solve, whether it's an organization, a group, a community, a hub, another business that's got a list of customers, you get the opportunity to get in front of those customers and you get to deliver an hour talk, a 2-hour talk, a 3-hour talk, a 30-minute talk, whatever. But in that period of time, you get to really shape perspectives. You really get to get people to know you, get them to buy in. So let's just say, for example, you're a gym owner and you live in a local town/village. All the people that are going to the sunbed shop, all the people that are going to get their nails done, all the people that are going to the hairdressers are all people that love their beauty. And there is nothing wrong with you going to a hairdresser and say, hey, do you mind if I pay you 200 quid to run an evening for your clients and talk about something in relation to the niche that that hairdresser works with? So if it's like over 40s and menopause, if it's like young women and navigating modern life and how to eat and how to perform and feel your best. Run a night like that and I can guarantee you, even if you get 10 people in a room, those 10 people, 8 of them will follow you, 2 or 3 of them will inquire, 2 of them may become customers. Look at what they'll pay you over a period of time. Look at the marketing material that you'll create out of them. Look at the results that you'll get out of them. And the reality is, that's how you catalyze things. At scale, when you're already growing, you still should be doing this. Because if you look at the way that people do social media now, it's like reel, post, story. It's sound bites. If you're watching this video and you've already watched it this far, 1, you trust me. 2, you're probably interested in working with me. 3, you most likely will work with me as I go through this, because guess what? You're gonna have to implement it and you're gonna get stuck on it. So anytime that you go and deliver insane value and give the best of your stuff available, that's totally cool. People aren't gonna implement it, they need help, and that's ultimately what you pay for. So keep that in mind. So joint ventures and collabs. I'm gonna just talk quickly on organic. You find a platform that allows you to express your most authentic self. If you're great at writing, use a platform that allows you to write. LinkedIn. If you're great at video, use a platform that allows you to express your best self on video. It might be Instagram and YouTube. If you're only good at audio, then focus on a podcast. If you're good at all of it, well, find one platform that you really love and repurpose all the other stuff on the other platforms. But you should have a mixture of short form and long form content. You need to have a blend of both. Short form is your reels, your posts, all your bits and pieces. Your long form is podcast. This is an example of long form content. Long form content will always bring your best clients. So you've got to make sure that you're producing something short form, long form every other day. The number 3 is paid, and that can be paid advertising. It can be paid referrals. I really like paid because paid forces your message into a marketplace. And when you force your message into a marketplace, you aren't reliant on the algorithms. The hard thing about organic is that when you post it, it's really down to the algorithm whether or not it gets shown. And the problem with that is it's quite confusing when you're working with a niche and you're communicating your skill set and it's not funny or it's not humorous or it's not like overly clickbaity. You tend to find that you get way less engagement on it. And when you get less engagement on it, you can think to yourself, flip, I'm not getting enough distribution. I'm not getting enough eyeballs on my stuff. So you actually are at the mercy of the platform. Now, don't get me wrong, you can inject a bit of humor into it. You can inject your skill set into it. You can get shout outs and all that kind of stuff, which can help. But long story short, paid, especially ads, are 24/7 in your face. You always want to be top of mind when you're marketing. That's why distribution is so important, because you want eyeballs on your stuff constantly. And if your material is good, people are going to consume it. They're going to develop a clear understanding that you are the best in the game for getting a particular result, and they're going to develop trust, and they're going to develop a relationship with you. That's critical. And please undermine all of these things here. The most important thing you need to realize is lead nurture feeds lead generation. So if there's one big thing to take away from this training, it's to focus more on building the relationship by nurturing the leads versus just focusing on how can I get my next clients. The question you should be asking yourself this week is, how can I build a deeper, more meaningful and trusting relationship with my clients using content that I naturally love to create in a platform that I really enjoy, where my customers hang out in front of an audience that has the pain point that I solve. The next most important thing I want to talk about is offers. When you have a consumer, let's say his name is John. John needs to lose a bit of weight. John sees your content, whether it's a reel, whether it's a bit of written copy, whether it's an email, whether it's you speaking on stage. He sees the content and essentially consumes it. Whenever he consumes it, his brain starts to work. That's meant to be a functioning brain, but you get the gist. The most important thing from this content is the bridge to create a conversation. This is what we sometimes call a call to action. For example, if you've got a reel, you might say something along the line of, like this reel, if it's related to you, drop a comment below and let me know your biggest takeaway. If it's an email, it might be reply back with your thoughts. Let me know if this stood out for you. It might be click here if you want to find out more about X and Y. Speaking, it might be come and see me at the back of the room whenever I've finished if this has resonated with you. So the bridge to a conversation through a call to action is important to get people to raise their hand and identify with the content that they have got something wrong that they know that you can fix. And then the conversation between you and somebody else, or if you've got a sales team or a chat person, is essentially where they essentially ask, hey, what resonated the most about the content? What are your goals in respect to subject? How's that going? They're likely going to say not well. And then it's an offer. Would you like help? Generally speaking, that's the natural flow of conversations and offers. On the screen here, you're going to see a table pop up. Now, on this table, I'm going to run you through the different types of strategy that you can use to start conversations and actually start communicating with your marketplace. So I'm going to break this down into three categories: a business that does 100K per year and a business that does 7 figures per year. So let's start with the first one. Organic posts with a clear call to action, a reel, a piece of copy that's written with a, hey, drop me a message and get in touch. Somebody who does 100K a year will probably do that 5 times a week. Somebody who does 7 figures a year will do that at least 2 to 3 times a day on different platforms. The person doing 100K will typically do it on one platform. Referrals. Somebody doing 100K a year will not have a formal process, will randomly ask when they get the opportunity, but it's not systematized. Somebody that's got a business that does 7 figures a year will actually have a full system where people can join as clients, become referees, get paid. There's a full process around it. They'll have a team member managing it, and they'll be doing it every opportunity that they could get, multiple times per week. It'll in fact be in the onboarding. It'll in fact be throughout the whole entire customer journey. It'll be at events. It'll be consistent. Number 3, reoffering old clients. Somebody doing 100K per year will rarely do it because they feel once a client comes in and they go, that's it. Somebody doing 7 figures a year will have a process to reoffer old clients regularly over a course of time. So every now and again, when they're taking a slump in leads, they'll go and reach out to old clients that were there maybe a year ago, and they'll say, hey, just wanted to check in, your name came up, and I thought I'd reach out to see how you're doing. Listen, we'd love to have you back working with us. Would you like to join us? And they'll make offers like that. Reoffering people that don't close on sales calls. That's people that say no. Following up with them in 3 months' time, 6 months' time. Hey, are you still struggling with? We're starting a new program. We'd love you to join us. Are you interested? Let me know and we'll hop on a call and share the details. So they're constantly reoffering in organic ways. Outbound messaging. So DMs get a bit of a rap. You might hear mentors that are on the internet saying, oh, you don't need to cold DM people, you don't need to send 100 messages a day. Here's the truth. DMs and messages are the heartblood of conversations. And if you're not starting conversations, then you can't actually communicate your value and essentially inspire people to work with you. The most important thing about DMs is that you're engaging with people that have interacted on your stuff. So for example, if you put a reel up on the one thing that you should be doing to drop body weight for summer and people start commenting and asking questions on it, they have clearly raised their hand to let you know that they're struggling with something in respect to the current time of year. These are prime individuals that require outbounding. Let's just say John commented on my post and goes, hey, this really stood out for me. What should I do with my training? You message John, thanks so much for interacting on my post. Love to know, what do you need help with the most right now? He lists it off, you reply back, I can definitely help. Many of my best performing clients struggle with exactly the same thing. Offer them a call. I'm not going to go into the whole scripting. I'm going to do separate videos on that. That is a unique process. But somebody running a 100K a year business typically does that when they feel like it, when they've got energy because they don't have a team. They're at capacity, they're burnt out, and starting conversations is tiresome. Somebody that does 7 figures a year will be paying somebody about $500 a month and a bit of a commission to start conversations with people that interact on their content and commission them on the individuals that go towards a call and ultimately buy. So it happens consistently. They're making more offers. Email marketing, somebody doing 100K per year probably hasn't started it. Somebody running a 7-figure business is advertising a lead magnet with an email campaign at the end of it, and is also regularly nurturing and CTAing the email list. Seasonal promotions, somebody doing 100K per year might do like New Year, New Me. Somebody that is running a 7-figure business will dial in their marketing to, hey, do you want to get in shape before summer? Hey, do you want to get in shape for October? Here's the 5 things you need to do. We've just launched a brand new coaching program for October. Hey, do you want to get in shape at the end of the year and get ahead of everyone else and really create your own separation season before New Year starts? They're constantly making their marketing and their offers relevant and constantly making offers to everyone on their list, everybody that looks at their stuff. They're not afraid to sell. Joint ventures, somebody doing 100K per year probably doesn't have any. Probably just happens out of chance. Somebody that's got 7 figures a year has typically got 5 to 10 going a year, if not more. Sales events, somebody doing 100K a year will never do them. Somebody doing 7 figures a year will probably run one once a quarter. It's what we do with all of our 7-figure clients. It's actually the one thing that really gets someone that's at $250,000 a year right the whole way up to $1 million a year is running seasonal sales events where they get the opportunity to sell to 50 to 20 people. And this is where you get 5-figure sales days. It's insane, but it's a great sales channel and it's a great way to make offers to more than one person at once. And most importantly, it's a great way to build a relationship really quickly, because if somebody sits and watches your content for an hour, the likelihood of them building trust with you versus watching a 30-second reel where you're dancing around like a fucking idiot is far higher. By the way, don't fall for all the mentors and coaches out there that are dancing around like idiots, coming across as humorous with loads of likes. That's great for engagement, but it's not necessarily great for sales. It can be used strategically to get you out there, but 9 times out of 10, you position yourself as a bit of an idiot. And it's quite hard to cut through the volume and chaff to get to the quality if all your message is just constantly joking and dicking around. I have worked with so many influencers that have millions of followers that struggle to monetize it because they spent their whole time acting the dick in front of the camera, building recipes, doing low-cost commodity things. Guys, you can get this shit anywhere. The most important thing you've got to communicate on your content is your skill set. Be known for a skill for a particular part of the market. Yes, you will get less engagement, but you will fucking become rich. And you've got to decide, do you want to become rich or do you want to become famous with your content? For me, I wanted to become rich. And then last but not least, paid advertising. And I'm not going to go into all the different campaigns, but with paid advertising, somebody doing 6 figures a year won't do it. Somebody doing 7 figures a year will be spending money every single day on paid ads to get more eyeballs on their work 24/7. They will be offering lead magnets. They will be building audience views. They will be spending money with a very dialed in ads strategy. And again, that's something that we love helping our clients with, because it's the kind of thing that takes you from 100K a year to 500K a year. The jumps are massive whenever you get the right strategies at play. So keep that in mind. Making offers is absolutely critical. And the last piece that I'm going to share with you is getting out of your own way. Here's the truth about building a 7-figure fitness business. You will only get your business to a certain level. Why? Because you are one human, you have energy that is essentially up and down every day. You've got personal issues, you've got challenges, you've got threats to your energy and your vision every single day. You get distracted, you end up firefighting, you get pulled out of the way. So your bandwidth is limited. And the biggest thing that a business needs is bandwidth. the most important thing inside bandwidth is critical thinking and decision making. So knowing what should we be doing, how can we do things better than we're currently doing. For one person to do that all the time is just way too much. As a CEO, your main focus should be the vision of the company and making sure that it's the most relevant option in the marketplace, feeding that vision through to your marketing team, feeding that vision through to your salespeople, feeding that vision through to your coaches. The second thing is making sure that you've got the right people in the corner. And the third thing is making sure that you're generating cash. If you're watching this right now and you own a fitness business, that's the only thing that you should be doing. Now, you might be saying, but the clients want me. No, they don't. The clients want a fucking result. I need to be doing the sales because essentially it brings money into the business and people only want to speak to me. No, they don't. And if you think that, it's because you haven't actually stepped outside your comfort zone, you don't have the beliefs, you don't have the skills, and that's why you need to be part of a community. That's why you need coaching on this stuff, because you will continue to take on clients, answer your phone every day, all hours of the night, purely because you're afraid clients are going to leave you. That is not how you run a business. That is how you build a jail cell. When it comes to hiring, you need to hire in this order. First things first is admin, booking flights, doing anything paperwork related, accountancy, anything like that. Get it off your plate. Shameless plug to fitnessindustrywealthandfinance.com. If you need an accountant, check those guys out. Admin is the first thing that you need to delegate. The second thing that you need to delegate is things like graphic design and video. And I'd also say your scheduling. This takes up a lot of time. You shouldn't be editing your own videos. It's pointless. I think it's really important to say that at the start of your journey, your number one focus should be to generate as much profit and as cash as possible, literally become an aggressive cash collection machine. Then once you get a little bit of money and you've got your baseline covered, then you need to be investing and redeploying that cash into building new skills, hiring team members, and paying for advertising, or a combination of all three. And the context for that is very different, but that's what you should be focusing on. If you're just making money, storing it in your bank account and not doing anything with it, you're going to end up taking way longer to achieve your goals. So it's absolutely critical that you use the cash in your business to hire these people, because when you hire these people, you buy your time back. And when you buy your time back, you bring your energy back so that you can focus on more important things in the business. The next thing is then really delegating chats. So this is the individual that starts conversations, that leads people towards sales calls, that interacts with people that have engaged on your post. And you have to train these people. You have to get them up to a standard where they know what to say, they know how to communicate, they know how to offer, and you pay them like $500 a month base, and then commission on every call that they book in that closes, so that they're incentivized to really qualify people. But you've got to build the script, you've got to create the reporting structures and all that, and I'm going to create other videos on how to communicate with your team. This is just a very high level overview. The next one is delegating some form of delivery. So you don't want to be doing check-ins, you don't want to be doing coaching all the time. You can give that to a coaching team. And if you're thinking to yourself, I need to be the only one doing the delivery, I need to be the only one doing the sales calls, I need to be the only one doing the chats. No, you don't. Your customer is only interested in one thing. That is getting a result. Yes, you are the person that can make that happen, but here's the thing. What sounds more credible? Come and work with me, or come and work with me and my team? I will help you, or my team and I will help you. Because guess what? You want to grow your business, and if you're constantly adding people into the business, customers will see that you are spread thin and you are busy, and guess what happens when you don't have a team? Customers begin to think that you're too busy for them, and as a result, they don't reach out for help, and as a result, they churn, and also they catch you on the days where you're not in the mood. And when you're not in the mood, guess what? You can't deliver the value. So you've got to build a team. If you want to create more value, build a team. Your wealth is in direct correlation to helping people get what they want. And you can't help people get what they want, especially lots of people, if you don't have a team. The next thing is then delegating sales. Sales calls will take up a lot of time, so you've got to do your own sales calls, build the experience, get really good at it, and then you've got to build out some form of training to educate somebody on how to follow your script, what to say, what to do, how to get the tools all set up. And when you're out of sales, you bring more time back into your diary. You then want to look at leadership, and this is leaders of departments. And the departments are marketing, sales, and delivery. And the head of marketing is typically responsible for looking after the graphic designer, the videographer, the scheduler, somebody that might be running your paid ads, somebody that might be doing your copywriting. I don't recommend that you get a copywriter or somebody doing media buying until you're at least 10K per month. When it comes to sales, you want a head closer and you want somebody under chats. That will take you to well over 7 figures a year. The main closer is going to be the person that manages the person with the chats, and the chats interacts with the salesperson. And delivery, you want a head coach with maybe 1 or 2 coaches, depending on how many clients that you have. And if you still want to have a level of involvement in there, you certainly can. But generally speaking, this is the way that things need to go. It's super important. You could argue in here that we have some marketing rules. But generally speaking, imagine this. You no longer do admin. You no longer do graphic design, video, and scheduling your own posts. All you do is literally talk into a camera like this, and then a team take care of it. You no longer initiate chats. You no longer deal with objections in chats. You have somebody booking sales calls for you. You no longer do all the one-to-one check-ins. You just simply check in with your team every week. You lead them, you teach them, you coach them. You no longer do sales calls. You no longer deal with objections. You no longer deal with follow-ups. And then eventually, with marketing-wise, you could put in a copywriter. I generally don't like a copywriter because it's very hard for people to find your own voice. You only really need that when you're like really high level. Media buyer to run ads, and then leadership is somebody to manage somebody in marketing, or to manage the team in marketing, to manage the team in sales, to manage the team in delivery. But the whole goal of this is to buy your time back, get you freedom, and allow you to focus on your strengths. In a business that isn't well delegated or doesn't have a team, the strength of the leader becomes the weakness of the organization, and you do not want that. So keep all that in mind. That is the team that you need to build if you really want to scale. And I'm gonna delve deeper into this in terms of exact rules, how to pay people, and also how to communicate with them, how to create the reporting structures, how to create the communication in another video. I just wanted to give the high level overview. But everything that I've shared with you here is 100% possible, 100% doable. We have clients all around the world that have done this. Clients that have come in at 5K per month and they're all of a sudden doing 100K a month. Clients like Laura Lamb, Mark and Jess Ross, Mark Rhodes, Joe Parrish, right the whole way through to Jimmy Moran and Body Smart. There's just so many clients that have been on this journey that we've helped. This is essentially your blueprint, but start here. High ticket group coaching. This is going to allow you to accumulate a lot of wealth up front, allow you to keep clients, and remember, the only two ways to make more money in your business are to sell more, make your current clients more valuable by keeping them and building an insane experience that balances results and relationship with you and the community. Now, last but not least, I just want to run through some quick deliverables around group coaching and the high ticket model. So if we look at the high ticket model, it can't be around you and one-to-one. So here's what you've got to include. The first thing is you've got to have a curriculum. You must have a curriculum to organize all your knowledge and insights and experience. We help clients build that out, but it's like a syllabus. The second thing is you need to have group coaching calls throughout the week. And these are on your curriculum. So if your curriculum is around mindset, nutrition, lifestyle, training, supplementation, have calls around those, have Q&As, have masterminds, have panels where you interview clients, have experts that come in and talk around specific subjects. Almost like you're creating an excitement library like Netflix of here's what's coming up. And that's the important thing is what's next. Always communicate to your clients what's next, what's coming up, because that will really excite them, that will keep them there. You need to have elements of one-to-one support. So that's why it's important to have coaches to jump onto calls, to have clients own dedicated private channels, whether it's in school, whether it's in Discord, whether it's on email, whatever channel that works for you. And I'm going to do another video on the best support channels and tools for coaches in due course. On top of that, you got to have events, you got to have experiences. The events are amazing because they create value beyond just a group and watching content. They create friendships, they allow you to create more content in a live interactive setting where you can get people masterminding. You want to have gamification, where essentially you've got different levels to your program, and you can have levels that are essentially like milestones, which is called basically horizontal gamification, or you can have vertical gamification where it's like levels like black belt, white belt, blue belt, all that kind of stuff, and it can go up, or like level 1, level 5. You can get whatever names you want. And on top of that, you want to have client hot seats where you're celebrating clients' big wins, and essentially people can copy and replicate what they've done. And you want to have like captains or best performing clients to help police the community, drive people, and essentially they're almost like your elders. So these are the ingredients that go into a high ticket group coaching model. I truly believe that health, fitness, mindset are quite frankly the #1 areas to lean into and build a coaching business with, because mental health is on the rise, obesity is on the rise, validation is on the rise, and ultimately, what is the #1 thing that's going to make you feel great about yourself is how you feel and look in your own body, your mind, how you think about yourself, and all of the tools and skills and expertise that you have acquired from your backstory are going to be the very things that get people to win. And I can't stress enough that a coaching business is one of the fastest ways to make money. It's one of the best ways to make profit. You'll make just as much profit as a business 10 times your turnover that has got a bricks and mortar business with loads of team members who's super bloated. I just believe coaching businesses are the #1 way to create wealth, and coaching businesses give you the key to investment opportunities and other things down the line. But you've got to build a seriously good coaching business first and foremost before you do anything else. And everything that I've shared with you here today is really important to execute. I hope this has been insightful. Drop your biggest takeaway in the comment below. I would love to hear it, because if you give me feedback, then I know what to create for you. So please take the time to do that. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. And if you want help growing your fitness business, click the link in the show notes. Connect with our team. They'll look at your business, look at what's working, what's not working, and identify the 3 biggest things that you need to focus on to 1 half your working week or add an extra 0 to your business in the next 365 days. Chat soon.